Yeah, this will take, I hope, 20 minutes. It's rolling now. Is it rolling already?
Yeah.
I think the big question everybody asks is, why did I get into politics with all that success? I think there's a big difference between leadership and politics. The reason for many people getting into politics could be very different, but leadership is all about serving the people. And for me, it's very refreshing when we have people who are out of politics coming in, because I think it's genuine. These are people who actually want to make a difference. If you see things going wrong, there are certain things you do as a leader, and there's a way you sort out issues for people as a leader.
Provisional results had indicated that Karauri was leading since yesterday, and looks like finally the long wait is over and he's just received his certificate.
Unaweza pata mtoto wa grade 7 amekaa juu ya mawe na kitabu kwenye goti. Huyu mtoto ako na future kweli?
Student population 3,300 crammed into 31 classrooms.
Kwa sasa tuko na upungufu wa madarasa 37.
Walls of 8 classrooms started trembling with pupils inside.
On Friday, darasa zote zikaanza kutetemeka. Tulisikia dulu ya watoto tukiwa manyumbani.
At Madari Primary School, students have been moved into already occupied classes after flooding and landslides hit the school.
Na nimekuwa nikiadvocate tubadilishe vile tuna distribute funds, kwa sababu kama hapa Nairobi, nikisema hizi shule zetu hata si ati ni mingi, lakini darasa hazitoshi. Public schools Kasarani, both primary na secondary, ni 30 peke yake Kasarani nzima.
Look, I was trying to do the math here, right?
Yeah.
You said there were about 130 registered
155,000
registered voters.
Yes.
Which means the population of Kasarani could be what, two times that, 3 times that?
Maybe 3 times.
So let's say close to 500,000?
Correct.
And you're 30 schools?
Correct. Let me put this into context for those who might struggle to understand. If you go to the rural areas, you'll find most of the schools have very few students per classroom, maybe 20 to 30 students. You come to Kasarani, you might end up seeing classes with even up to 150 students. So the problems we face in Nairobi, rather Kasarani, the urban areas in terms of education are much more severe. Most of the families that we have in the city and in Kasarani live day to day. So they struggle even sometimes with the basic needs. From my interaction with my people of Kasarani, and that started way before even the election, what I identified was the education sector is experiencing a lot of challenges.
Honorable Captain Ronald, allow me to welcome
you. Our Honorable Member of Parliament, Captain Ronald Karauri. Let me just give you a small flashback. We used to be contested in our classrooms. But now that we have well-organized classroom, I know and I believe starting from next year, there will be no more congestion. If I had a voting card, I would have voted for you.
Education is the promise of a bigger future for most of my people, and they feel it's the one gift that they can give their children in terms of empowering them for the future. So when that is taken away from them, they feel disempowered or rather disenfranchised. So I identified that as a major problem, and that's why I decided to ensure that you help them with education.
I've heard about the lab. We need extra classrooms. We need to refurbish these classrooms, and I will put all my efforts to ensure I fulfill usome vizuri.
Siku yenye niliingia hapa nilileta mtoto wangu hapa. Ile klasi aliingia walikuwa almost 116, lakini kwa saa hii kuna classes mpya. Watoto wetu saa hii watasoma wakiwa spaced kidogo. Ni furaha sana kwangu. Kama watoto wetu wako sawa, hata sisi tuko sawa. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Karauri, na uendelee kutimiza.
As of today, February 2026, the 3 key projects that I'm most proud of are St. Dominic Primary and Secondary, Manyata Primary and Secondary, and Gitwamba Primary, which are all from the NGCDF. It's all schools, of course. As I had mentioned, I like focusing on education because that's the need that we have in Kasarani. One is St. Dominic. We have St. Dominic Primary and Secondary. When I went there, they had a problem with ablution block, which was serving both schools, whereby you have secondary school students mixing with primary school students using the same ablution block. And also, again, lack of classrooms. We managed to build a lot of extra classrooms, both for the primary and secondary schools, and new ablution blocks for the school. And anyone who goes there right now, from what they saw, if there's a parent there who had a student there in the past 3 years, they can tell you that that school has really been transformed.
Amelete maendeleo ya kujenga madarasa 4. Pande ya secondary school ametuletea maendeleo ya kujenga choo ili wanafunzi wetu waweze kupata nafasi nzuri ya kusoma. Nasema asante.
And the good thing is that it's at the hub of Mwiki, so it accommodates quite a number of students. We also have Manyata Primary and Secondary, which also, again, they never used to have a fence. In fact, the joke was that, and it's an area with a lot of Maasais, the joke was that the cows could come and even lick a student in the face when they're in class.
Asante sana.
I would like to sincerely thank you. My name is Machari, I'm the chairman of the board. I would like to sincerely thank you because when we started here, this place was not a school. But right now it has the face of an institution.
Yes.
We started with those mabatis that you're talking about. Yes. And we had to renovate this particular classroom so that we could be able to accommodate the principal and accommodate.
The principal had a small mabati.
Yes, a small compound. I called it a butcher. It looked like a butcher.
Yes, I remember.
Tulikuwa tumechenga vitu ya makonge kama kilasi. Watoto walikuwa wanakaa ndani bila hata viti. Tulikuwa tumeleta matairi za makari ndio zilikuwa kama viti. Lakini nashukuru Mungu kwa sababu tulipopata mheshimiwa Captain alikuja hapa akatuahidi atatuchengea kitu. Tukaona kitu ya kwanza amechenga choo. Watu wakaanza kuulizana choo inakuwa mzuri kuliko madarasa. Lakini alikuwa anajua ile kitu anafanya. Baadaye tumeona ameleta madarasa. Tumechengewa madarasa mazuri sana hapa, tunafurahia sisi kama wazazi na mimi kama mwenyeji. Ni maendeleo kwa hii kijiji yetu. Tumeanza kupata mwangaza kwa sababu yake. Tumekuwa na shida mingi sana hapa na tunaona hiyo shida imeanza kuwa solved kwa sababu ya mheshimiwa wetu.
Tulikuwa tunasema mnakujua kulambwa na ng'ombe mkiwa klasi. So, nilikuja hapa, mimi nakumbuka kabla tulipata hii shule. Na yani we have done a lot.
So they didn't have a fence, they had mabati classrooms, and we've managed to transform the school with ablution blocks, extra classrooms, and it has really transformed the place. It's a completely different school if you go there today. For Gitwamba Primary, and why I'm very proud of that project, it's actually one of the first projects I did when I became a member of parliament. And just to give background, previously Gitwamba Primary had a problem of structural integrity in one of their classroom blocks. And that means the children had to vacate those particular classrooms because of the danger of the classroom maybe collapsing on them. It was actually a safety issue.
Over 600 pupils of Gitwamba Primary School in sewage area of Kasarani Constituency have been forced to study outside after their 10-year-old classroom building developed cracks. Now, since Friday, the pupils have been taking their classes out in the open, but luckily on Wednesday, to be inside a tent.
Knowing the value of education, this really bothered me, and we had to find a solution. And when I was doing my campaigns, I actually got tents for them. So for quite a lengthy period of time, these children were studying in tents. When I became an MP, it became increasingly clear that we needed to get permanent structures for these children.
Ukiona mheshimiwa wetu
ametujengea madarasa hapa na ametoa pesa kwenye mfuko wake, inakuonyesha huyu mheshimiwa anawapenda. Nikiwaangalia wanafunzi, ninaona walimu hapa. Nikiwaangalia naona mainjinia hapa. Nikiwaangalia naona madaktari hapa.
Amen.
Nikiwaangalia naona macaptains hapa.
Amen. The congestion is at such a level. The recommendation is 1 teacher for every 50 students. We have gotten to a point where in every classroom we are approaching close to 200 students. We were waiting for the CDF funds, but I decided to build the classrooms as we wait for the CDF to complete the project.
And those classes are there up to now. It's one of the projects which is very close to my heart. There are also ongoing projects that we are doing. For example, Njiru Secondary, which is with the help of the president. So when I first came into office, this was the Njiru Secondary School was only this block over here. And children also used to learn on top. And there's a problem with the construction because it was not built to have other classrooms on top. So that's why that was the only block. This is what was called Njiru Secondary School. So now, as you can see, we built that whole new block, and this brand new block has been done with 10 new classrooms and a lab. So this is what has been done in the past few years, and I'm sure now they'll accommodate a lot of new students because there's a shortage of public secondary schools in this area.
Kazi tunajaribu. Tumeomba kazi leo watoto.
Ndio poa.
Tunashukuru mkitupea kazi.
Unaona projects zikikuja kazi pia
inapatikana.
Instead nikuja tu mkono tupu.
Umepotea.
Si nikuja sasa at least kuna job. Nisikupate bila job pale.
Ni kweli.
Si sawa. So huyu mdosi wenu unamtrust.
Muamini sana. Muamini sana.
Hivyo sasa.
So where we are today, this is New Kipawa Primary School. We are constructing a new primary school because I think I've mentioned it many times. Ruai ward is 100 square kilometers. Other than what I've mentioned about having over-congested classrooms, the other challenge we have is especially primary school students having to walk very long distances to access education. Today we're on a tour of the projects. This is one of the 3 primary schools that we have come to see today. Unaendeleaje? Mshakula lunch?
Bado. Tuko jobu bado.
Sasa nimefika at least mkule ka lunch.
Asante.
So I'm really proud of those projects, and I know they're some of the projects that my Kasarani people will remember me for. Nairobi is the one place, the city, is where someone can be dying and their neighbor doesn't know.
Usili kwa aje. Inakaa umerecover kabisa. Usikii kitu yote, usikia poa. Wewe ni mtu strong. Kwa sababu naona bado watu wanachora na kile kitu sana.
Wewe ni hapo simame hapo. Kabisa mkono hapo. Na nini kingine sasa? Sasa utatembea hata itakusumbua sasa.
Sura hiyo iko sawa. Ndio. Nani mmoja ama?
Mbili lazima sasa hapo tayari. Nakuingiza sasa. Hebu tembea kidogo nini sasa?
Iko sawa.
Nini sasa? Hii sinasaidia sasa.
Si at least ni better. Ile ulikuwa unaweza nayo kweli.
Itajua kidogo itabidi. Kidogo tu. Simuona sasa iko sawa, itakusaidia.
Sawa.
Ndio utapona na utaenda vizuri, utarudia afya yako vizuri.
tunaomba Mungu usome kabisa. Kabisa. Usome ukue mkulima, usome ukue mwanajeshi mzuri, si ndio?
Residents of Kasarani in Nairobi took to the streets today to protest what they say is a surge in insecurity in the area. The residents blocked roads in protest, saying there is a rise in violent attacks that have claimed lives and shattered families. The community, particularly in areas like Hunters, is calling on the government and police to take urgent action before the situation worsens.
Security is one of the key priorities we've had in Kasarani. When we came in, we realized that many areas were quite far from the nearest police station, and that directly affected response time when incidents occurred. So through NGCDF, we've been able to invest in the construction of new police posts across the constituency. What this does is bring security services closer to the people and strengthen collaboration with the community.
We normally like them to be completely separate because
we are now seeing improved response and a greater sense of presence from our security agencies, because ultimately development can only happen where people feel safe.
Tumekuwa na challenge distance ya pale Ruai, na tunaona sasa ni kama service imekuja karibu na sisi, na pia tunashukuru sana kwa sababu zile petty offenses ambazo zimekuwa hapa zitaweza kukua adult, na in fact naamini ya kwamba hata wale ambao wanatenda yale ambao hayafai, at least nao watajua the security is near the community, na ninaamini ya kwamba itatufaidi sana kama mwana kamnyonge.
When we speak about security, we have to remember one key element, and that is joblessness among our youthful population. An idle youthful population is a breeding ground for insecurity in any community. So in all our projects, be it the school projects, be it the roads that we do through Kera, we ensure that we employ a majority of the youth population from the community in Kasarani. This way they have meaningful job opportunities whereby they can take care of their families and themselves.
Tunashukuru kiongozi Captain Karauri kwa kutupatia opportunity, sima vijana at least tunaweza jijenga. Kila mtu atatoka na kitu hata kama ni kadogo. Pale kuwa pale mtaani sisi tuko idol, ile unakuwa na akili ya kishetani kwamba utapiga mtu ngeta jioni ili ati upate kitu.
Okay, naitwa Jeff. Mimi naishi hizi area, niko na furaha, tumepoa mboka. At least tutalala njaa. At least kazi iko, tutafanya miezi kadhaa. Na Mungu abariki MP.
We prioritize local contractors. We hire young people from within the wards, masons, carpenters, electricians, suppliers. Many families in Kasarani are earning a living because these projects are happening right here in their community. For me, development must be felt in the household. It must put food on the table. And that's the vision we are pursuing, an empowered Kasarani where growth creates opportunity for everyone. I was previously a pilot at Kenya Airways. I was flying for 11 years, 5 years as a captain. I also served as the General Secretary of the Kenya Airline Pilots Association as the General Secretary. After that, we managed to start a successful business. I think everyone knows it. It's called SportPesa. And I think the big question everybody asks is, why did I get into politics with all that success?
Sonko, often a darling of the masses, had mobilized a group of his loyal supporters to protest the demolition of kiosks in his constituency, pulling dangerous stunts to show just how loyal he was to his people.
Suddenly, all hell broke loose as the Honorable MP Ferdinand Waititu shared off his honor in defense of the school's grabbed land.
I think there's a big difference between leadership and politics, as we know it in Kenya, because the reason for many people getting into politics could be very different, but leadership is all about serving the people. So I saw an opportunity and I decided to take it because I felt that there was a gap. There was a gap that needed to be filled by leaders and not politicians.
And for me, it's very refreshing when we have people who are out of politics coming in, because I think it's genuine. These are people who actually want to make a difference.
So I want to remind all the honorable members that I was elected as an independent candidate. Why I bring that up is because I did not have the luxury of having a national manifesto. But I read both manifestos from Kenya Kwanza and from Azimio.
If you see things going wrong, there are certain things you do as a leader. And there's a way you sort out issues for people as a leader. So I think it's also something that just comes from God. And you can either decide to take it or just leave it, because you could easily just live comfortably without taking on leadership. And it's probably safer, but with the leadership you can make a difference in a lot of people's lives. My first shot at leadership was when I was a general secretary at CALPA. You are voted in by your fellow pilots. And I managed, or rather I was fortunate enough to interact with a lot of leaders at that point, is when I realized we needed a lot more leaders in Kenya rather than politicians. We need people who are going to serve the people rather than serve themselves or other interests that they have. The three qualities that best define my leadership style are problem solving, service, and sacrifice. I think leadership, it also calls, because we deal with people, and people are very, very different. You have people who have their interests, even to a smaller scale. You have people with real problems, and there are a lot of people with problems. Prioritizing which problems to help with first, because sometimes just being in leadership is not enough, because you have to sacrifice yourself to an extent if you're going to help people. And ensuring that they leave feeling that they've been helped, or rather somebody has listened to them.
Sasa niingie nipange wapi sasa. Kwa hivyo karibuni sana. Mimi mtano wenu sasa. Uniambie sasa vile tutaongea.
Asante sana, nimeshukuru kwa kunipatia fursa hii. Ya muhimu sana ambayo ingekuwa number 1 ni documents. Hatujai tengenezewa barua lekakani kama hatuna matitle ama allotments. Alafu tunauliza social amenities. Mahali tunaweza pata kama hospitali, shule ama hata social hall. Kuna daraja ile inatulink na Embakasi North ambayo ni daraja ya Dandora.
Alafu hiyo link ya Embakasi North ilikuwa imekuwa daraja lakini ilikuwa ndogo, sio?
Wakakuja hata ministry kakuja kufanya analysis ya kujua kwamba hiyo ground inaweza beba uzito wa barabara.
Yuka bridge tunafinyana watoto, watu wazima, magari pia zinataka kupenyea tu hapo. Hata saa zingine unapata kuna mtu amegongewa tu hapo.
So solution ni bridge kwa kubwa,
hata ni mabati na hata inaweza.
Watu wengine wanaenda wanachukua basari, wanatoa shuleni fulani. Wanaenda wanapeleka basari kama 10.
Tukiendelea mbele tutaisafisha ikuwe nzuri sana. Hata nikipatia yule ataingia next. Wamwambia sasa hivi ndio basari inafanya.
For the people, to me, means first of all knowing your people. I think sometimes we get lost in championing for rights of the people that we might not know. For me, it means really knowing your people so that you know what the immediate problems are. Let me tell you about my people, the people of Kasarani. You'll see them in the early mornings, chasing opportunities, refusing to give up.
Ground tumechoka na watu wanakuja tu kupiga siasa
na utendakazi wao haiko.
Nasema tuko na kiongozi, hatuna mwanasiasa ambaye anaitwa Ronald Karauri. Amejali maisha ya mwananchi.
This is resilience. This is hope. This is home. And walking among them, listening to them, you begin to understand that leadership is not about standing above people. It's about standing with them. You have to be able to listen to what they are saying to begin that journey together.
Shukuru sana. Mtoto wangu nimekuja hapa nikilia. Sasa simeona vile nilikuwa sina hasira. Mtoto wangu nimemtibu na atapona. Umenishughulikia. Acha asante.
And to be able to try and find a solution that will make them feel that they have been assisted. I think one core promise I made when I was campaigning and looking for votes in Kasarani was that I would ensure I improve the standards of education in the constituency. I strongly believe that we all have an equal playing field if everybody has the same education.
So you know physics and I want to ask you something. What keeps a plane in the air?
When the speed is increased, then the pressure above the plane is reduced. Therefore, the lower pressure becomes greater and thus pulls the plane up.
I think this disadvantage that happens most of the time is that some people do not get access to proper education, and I believe Kenyans are very clever, intelligent people. If we all had the same access, we would produce very, very good professionals all around. From my primary school, that's what qualified me to go to Mangu High School, because at that time it was a national school, still is a national school, very proud to be an alumnus of Mangu High School. And that opened the door for me to study aviation in Mangu High School. That's where my love for flying started. And after Mangu High School, going to the University of Nairobi to study engineering, but still going back to flying, which was, I think, one of the things that I was passionate about. And when I was at Mangu High School, I met a lot of students from all over the country. Some people who had never stepped into Nairobi, some people who had never left their home counties, some people who now Mangu High School was their exposure. And what brought them there? Just their education, that they performed well in their primary schools. Those same people now are leaders all over the country. Some have succeeded in different ways. So that education was the pathway to their success, to where they got. So my belief is that there are some students who probably don't have that opportunity to maybe go to Mangu High School. But you can imagine if we have Mangu High Schools all over the country, whereby the standards of education have reached a level such that you don't have to go to Mangu High School to get the same quality of education. So if we were to improve the standards to such a point that all our children are exposed to that level, that standard of education that we have in the national schools, then it means we will not have a problem with education in this country. We'll be solving other things. Education becomes an equalizer of everything. And it's from my experience that I truly, strongly believe that that's possible. I'm 150% sure that if a referendum was held today for people to decide whether CDF should be retained or should be abolished, 99% of the people would vote for it to be kept. The reason is simple. It's the one fund that the people can see the impact of. It's very important for everyone to understand what the NGCDF can do and what it cannot do. Because I think there's a lot of confusion when in terms of development, because people look to the same leaders for development. And of course, my people in Kasarani, whenever there's an issue, they look to me, which is a good challenge, but it's good for people to understand the difference.
Njiru Center hapo kuna public toilet hapo kuna hata toilet hata moja toilet iko kwa ndani kwa salami nimesikia hizo zote mara moja lakini sawa je sio toilets ni county kasakaje sasa ni county na hiyo so unless I nini niongee nao they provide space sasa
NGCDF does not do roads. NGCDF does not do garbage collection. Remember, this is a national government fund, so it cannot take over county functions. National government functions and county functions are properly separated in the constitution. So the NGCDF, there are some things it cannot do. One thing it can do though is education. In fact, a huge chunk of NGCDF funds goes to education. We can give up to 40% of the fund for bursaries, and then there are projects we can do which focus on those sectors of education and security. So for example, in Kasarani, you'll see a big chunk of CDF fund going into education in form of bursaries and projects around building more classrooms for our students. So public participation is a key aspect of how we apply the NGCDF funds. Just as an example, in the last round of public participation, whereby we put out word that will be a forum whereby the committee members will be meeting the people. People are able to come and give their views. After we are done with the public participation, we ensure there's a competitive tender process. And once the successful contractor is awarded the project, there's a project management committee that is formed, which involves, for example, if it's a school, it will involve the head teacher of the school or the principal, and also members of the community, because the idea is to have the community and the school own the project. So they're part of the project management committee and they're involved up to the end, and they sign off once the project is done that this is what we wanted. And when it comes to bursaries, I think the demand is so high that we have to ensure that it's a fair and transparent process, and also ensure that the people who are needy, the people who actually require the bursaries, are the ones who have access to them. So we open it up for all applications, everybody can apply, but to ensure you are a Kasarani resident. And the reason is, if you're a resident in another constituency, you will still have access to the bursary in your own constituency. So we try and ensure that this particular fund is able to benefit our Kasarani people.
Urithi ambao tunaweza pea watoto wetu kwa siku hizi sio mashamba, ni wewe mzazi unaweka mtoto wako kwa nyumba bila kumpeleka shule, afadhali usingemzaa. Na nyinyi ambao mna watoto ambao ni walemavu, na waomba tu tafadhali, na watolea mpaka kiatu, msiwafiche watoto, bring them all out so that they may get this opportunity of going to school like other children. Please. Mheshimiwa is here for us.
Najua mzee ameongea kama wazee 20. Ukweli ama uongo? Na ndio nasemanga elimu ni kitu muhimu sana. Urithi ni elimu, sio kitu kingine. Na sasa amesema kuna changamoto hiyo, amesema ameongezewa hizo fees. Nataka kuhakikishia hiyo tutalipa ndio mtoto aweze kusoma.
Asante.
So we do a vetting process where we make sure that our Kasarani residents are the beneficiaries of the bursaries, and at the same time, in terms of numbers, because sometimes the funds do not satisfy the needs of all the people that require the bursaries. We ensure the ones who miss at a specific period are able to access it the next period that we are giving the bursaries. When it comes to bursaries, fair selection is the most important aspect. Kasarani is a very, very large constituency, and what we've managed to do, also the public participation helps. We've managed to balance how we spend the resources in terms of project development in schools throughout the entire Kasarani, ensuring that you have development in schools from Kasarani Ward, Clay City, Mwiki, Njiru, all the way to Ruai, extending all the way to the edge of Nairobi in Kamulu, whereby you ensure that all schools get their fair share of development. Part of what makes NGCDF one of the most impactful funds is its transparency and accountability. We have annual audits from the Auditor General, and they have annual reports which are public, and anyone can access all the audited accounts from the NGCDF. The Captain Karauri Foundation was formed just shortly after I got into the Kasarani seat. And the reason I did that is because, remember, as I mentioned before, the NGCDF fund is very specific on its role and what it can and it cannot do. One of the things that NGCDF cannot do, for example, is give bursaries to students in primary school. And one of the challenges that we face, there are a lot of kids who are out of school and they're in primary school simply for the reason that their parents cannot get school fees. So we started the foundation with a main focus of tackling that specific problem. Now we've mainly focused our efforts from the foundation to Kasarani Constituency, but very shortly we'll be expanding the scope to the whole of Nairobi and in the future to the whole of Kenya. The Captain Ronald Karauri Foundation and the NGCDF, they really complement each other because in the NGCDF we actually do offer scholarships and the criteria to benefit from that scholarship are very strict. So we have to ensure that anyone who benefits from the scholarship is someone who is needy and also someone who has performed well in school and would bring good results that warrant issuance of a scholarship. But at the same time, you might have students from a very needy background who are unable to go to school. They do want to go to school and probably they do not meet the strict requirements that are set out in the NGCDF scholarship. And that's where the foundation sometimes kicks in so that we can support such students to also benefit from education. Another main focus for the Captain Karauri Foundation is people living with disability. People may not know this, but we have a very big population of especially children living with disabilities, not only in Kasarani, but across the whole of Nairobi. So what we do, we empower them. Many of them don't even have, there's a checkup you need to do so that you're able to be given the disability card. We empower them and ensure that we bring the doctors closer to them and they can give them access so that they can do what is required to access the disability card. And some of them do not have the necessary devices that they need just to live with their disabilities. It could be as simple as wheelchairs, it could be as simple as hearing devices. So as a foundation, that's one of the areas we focus on. And at the same time, some of these children need also assistance in terms of going to school. So the foundation does that, and we usually have days where we bring together the doctors, the people who actually produce this equipment that help with disability and empower people living with disabilities. So far now, we've supported a lot of students who have actually, with the foundation, who have now completed school. They've done their KCSE, I think, just last year. They performed well, and we are sourcing for scholarships for them. I know up to now, we'll definitely get more, but we have 5 students who will be fully funded for their university education outside the country. There is a worry sometimes that politicians use foundations for other purposes, as campaign machines or whatever else. Because for me, I think I have to accomplish what I set out to do with the foundation, and that is to ensure that we educate as many children as possible.
Tumesha donatiwa kila kitu, mheshimiwa amenunulia mtoto wangu kila kitu, saa hii anaenda shule. Mimi nafurahi tu, naambia mheshimiwa asanti, Mungu akubariki abundantly na watoto hawatakuaibisha, watasoma kwa bidii.
If there's one thing I want to be remembered for my service in Kasarani, from the time I started this journey in leadership, is my efforts in education, because I want to be remembered as a person who transformed the education sector in Kasarani, produced more classrooms, and gave a future to our children of Kasarani.